So, we are back for another episode of the Elite Agent Masterclass. I am joined by Jack Durkin. How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Very good. And excited to talk all things marketing today.
All things marketing. It's probably, if there was one thing that you and I particularly enjoy and get excited about, it'd be marketing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Where do you want to start on the whole thing, all things marketing? Because I think the Elite Agent Masterclass is designed to give people insights, snippets, nuggets of information they can take away, implement, or even reach out and discuss in more detail with us. And I think one of the main things that we have done in the Avenue business is create beautiful marketing. We have become known, I think it's fair to say, across our local communities, for each of our partner agents, they've become known for that agent that has stunning marketing. So where do you think it's best to start on this? Because there's so much to unpack.
There is, and I think the marketing and what we've done with our marketing has been a huge reason as to why we've grown so quickly, I suppose, and especially our agents growing not just their personal brands, but also showcasing some amazing properties. And yeah, that's then led to getting better fees. So I think where we should probably start is what we do with our marketing. How do we take our properties to market, and what does that do for our clients?
Okay. Where would you start?
Probably start with how we. Do you remember the very first couple of take-ons we did at the Avenue?
Yeah.
Going back to it was a bright sunny day, and I suppose the reason I want to share this is where we've come from to where we are now is very, very different. Although I do think when we launched, there was other agents at the time doing video tours. I mean, back when we was at Purple Bricks, we were doing video tours as well at the time. But the difference in the quality that we started to produce when we started the Avenue was worlds apart, and I think that's what really made us stand out. But going back to that first ever shoot, I think it was about 50 takes we did before I actually got the got the words right and got the presenting right. So it was tough at the very start, and now it starts to become much more natural. I think a lot of our partners go through that transition as well.
Yeah, and I think so. Just for context for those listening in, the video side of things was what was so unique when we first launched. And I think we're nearly 3 years in, aren't we, to the business, into the Avenue business. And I think that a lot of people have followed suit. You know, I think entered the marketplace at a time when people were starting to embrace video, like you say, Purple Bricks. We started to introduce video, but that was a whole different level. That was very homemade. Whereas when we launched the Avenue, one of the core principles for us was we're going to do it at the very best level. So we had the pros in from the get-go, the drone, the presenter led. And like you say, tripping over your words. I remember the first one I did. I tripped over my words so many times. It was a bit like you. It was middle of the summer, beaming hot day. And I remember so where the house was at the end of the street, it was a cul-de-sac, but at the end of the cul-de-sac, there was like a big open green space with play park and very nice setup. So I said to the videographer, I want to film an intro from this area here, because if someone's got a young family, they're going to really embrace the fact that they've got this on their doorstep. Honestly, it was the worst idea. It was so hot. I was sweltering. It took about 40 takes. But the whole point was that the video and the levels with which we did it were the game changer. It's what got us a lot of attention in the early stages, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the whole point of doing high-end marketing, I think there's two main reasons. One, being personal branding. I think we're going to talk on a separate podcast in a bit more detail about personal branding, but it helps the agent build their personal brand if they're going to start presenting the properties and showcasing the homes. But also it's the exposure that it gets for the client. I'm looking back on the only stat I ever cared about on Rightmove was the number of property views per listing we had, and we were always ranked highest on that number, which meant we had so much more interest than other agents for the property we had listed. I think initially we took on a couple of properties as well that were dual agents. And I remember what one we took on, we launched on the same day, me and the other agent. We both agreed with the seller we'd do viewings on the same day. So we did an open day after 2 weeks. And we had 14 viewings to our open day. The other agent had 1 viewing. And for me, that could only come down to marketing. because the prices were exactly the same. They were listed on the same day. It can only come down to the marketing. So that's why I think there's two real key areas. One being the results that it can generate for the client, and also how it can grow and scale your personal brand and your business as well.
I think the other thing to feed into that as well is it's a demonstration of value, isn't it? You know, so I've been in a estate agency now for 20 years. Yeah, 20 years this year. And I think one thing that I've come to know over that period of time is that every estate, I've been fortunate enough to work with hundreds of agents during that period of time. Some absolutely unbelievably good agents and some absolutely woeful ones. And the one thing that seemingly is often overused but under substantiated is estate agents believing they'll give the customer the very best service. You know, every estate agent walks into an appointment with a potential seller, and in the back of their minds, like, I'm going to give this person great service. We're the best business because we're going to give them the best service. But the client can't touch and feel service until they've experienced it, can they? And I say this to new partners that join us all the time. Whatever you do, don't hang your hat on telling the client that you're going to give service, because they can't touch it, they can't feel it, and they can't know what it is until they've actually experienced it. And so you need to be able to showcase the difference that you have to give through things they can touch, feel, and see. And marketing is the start point. Because if I take my estate agent hat off and I look outside of property and I go to, let's say, watches or cars, you know from the way Mercedes advertises on television and wherever else you see them that they're a premium brand. You know from the way Rolex and Breitling and Patek Philippe, you know they're a premium brand because of the way they market themselves. So my advice is that the marketing is your way of showcasing to your potential audience, the people you want to do business with. That's your way of saying to them, if I'm prepared to put this level of effort into marketing a home for somebody else, just imagine what I'm going to do for you. And equally, if you're going to put that level of effort into marketing, that naturally tells the client that your attention to detail is that acute, is that on point, that your service is going to mirror the level of marketing that you provide.
Yeah, and all the brands you've just mentioned there as well, they're not cheap brands, are they? You pay a premium to work, a premium to have any of those luxuries that you've just mentioned.
Absolutely. So, some of them have even got waiting lists to be able to have their product, right? And people will wait because their product, their perception of that product, at the end of the day, a watch is a watch, right? But the perception of that product they've created through their marketing and their brand positioning and through their messaging is that it's worth waiting for. And so therefore not only am I going to wait, but I'm also going to pay probably 4 times the price of anything else.
Yeah, it's about a 2-year wait for Rolex at the minute, isn't it?
A point in case, and people will hit that waiting list. And I think it's testament to personal brand. We're going to mention it, I think, several times in this marketing episode, but it has its own episode to be recorded. But I think it's testament to the quality of the marketing and personal brand building that one of our agents, literally just before you and I jumped on this call, she sent a voice note, didn't she, into our group chat on WhatsApp to basically say, what a lovely start to a Monday. She's received a message through Instagram from somebody who follows her, who Natalie is representing one of their friends' property sales as well. And they described her 2 or 3 times in the communication as being that estate agent on Instagram that does amazing video content. And then they went on to ask her, they've got a 4,000 square foot property. And they went on to ask her whether she would be happy representing their house. Would it be good enough to be represented by her? That is when you know you've created a personal brand and you've tied it to beautiful marketing and you've created an audience.
Mm-hmm. And that's not done easily, is it? Natalie, she's told us, and we know from the videographers she's worked with as well, she spends hours and hours on these take-on shoots. She could be there for 8 hours, 9 hours, prepping the house, getting it ready for the photo shoot, presenting, doing multiple videos as well. So she does presenter-led videos, professional photos. She'll do a lot of different real content as well. hours gets put into creating amazing marketing, and it goes to show the results that she's getting now and the people that she's attracting from the marketing she's doing. So yeah, incredible.
Go on, sorry.
Quite similarly to how I suppose we had similar interactions with clients at the very start. I remember you had a client that you took on, marketed a house absolutely incredibly, and I feel we both did. It helped us staircase our way up the market as well. We marketed properties that were 400, 500 grand, like they were £1 million, and then that attracted those £1 million properties as well. So I think the quality of marketing is really important.
Hugely so, hugely so. And when we had our group call with the partners last week, and one of them said, and it really resonated, and you said the same. He made a comment. He's only been with us a few weeks as a partner, and basically said one instruction can change everything. And those words really, really resonated. Because I don't know about you, but I can remember the one property that I put on in the early stages of when we launched the Avenue, which exactly like you just said, it wasn't an expensive house, but it was beautifully finished. It was 280 odd thousand, I think. Yeah, it was. And we did a launch day. We attracted loads of interest, but the marketing on it was better than houses that were on the market at that time that were on for £500,000. The engagement was insane. We had like 26,000 views on Facebook. It was bonkers. But that one instruction changed everything for me, because it led me to 4 more listings. Off the back of those, it became a snowball. And it was very interesting when he said that one instruction can change everything. It wasn't just the video, though. We can't just hang our hat on this episode being all about video, because there's so many other angles to our marketing. But the video seems to be one of the main pivotal ones that's helped us build a brand and a reputation for being that agent.
Yeah, it comes down to a lot of things, doesn't it? The photos, the copy in the advert. It's the overall, you mentioned it earlier, the attention to detail that goes into every little part of the market, and even down to the social media that we do as well. Although the presenter-led videos are also what helps build that personal brand. Like you said, probably sets us apart from what a lot of the other agents wouldn't do and are uncomfortable doing. I think that's probably where people don't and feel uncomfortable doing the presenter-led videos. Hence why doing something that's different helps you stand out.
Interesting one, because we didn't talk about this beforehand, and I'm gonna make you feel a bit uncomfortable now, but it's for the benefit of those listening, because when you get some negative feedback, the advice then is to keep pushing through. I remember quite early on, you had a client, you were absolutely buzzing to do a presenter-led video. He had a hot tub, and you had all these really cool plans for the marketing. You told him what your plans were, and what did he say?
He said he didn't need a presenter video. Just do a standard video just to show off the house. Don't get talking on it or anything like that. So I was like, okay. And it kind of set me back a little bit. I think I said to you, it set me back for a little while, where for a few weeks after that, we just did cinematic videos. And yeah, they still looked great. But they weren't as good as a presenter-led videos. But it was that one client that probably sowed the seed in my head that people don't want those videos. But that was only one comment from one client, whereas there's 9-10 other clients that loved those presenter-led videos.
And that's the message, right? Is that it may not be that everyone wants it, but don't be put off by the idea of doing it, because it's such a game changer across the board. The amount of comments we now collectively get from people, I've had multiple people, not just several, where they've been moving from out of the area, and their feedback has been that actually watching the video tours and having the presenter-led element whereby they can follow along and listen to the advice I'm giving or talking them through the property, that's really helped them with making their decision to want to come and view the property. And it's actually made the property that we're selling stand out to them, because they're moving from so far that they want as much information as possible before they come. And that then, but like you say, it only takes one negative comment to supersede all of those really positive ones, doesn't it? But would you argue that for anyone that's either considering doing video or has had those negative comments, would you argue that they need to overcome that, and it's really, really important to stick at it?
Yeah, 100%. And there's that comment, but also I suppose when we first launched as well, there was the thoughts in my head that people are going to mock the videos and your friends, your social groups. And yeah, okay, at the start they did a little bit, but I think the easiest way to overcome that is just that don't give in. Don't give in to their goading, and if you show that you care, then they just carry on even more. But I think the most important thing was I knew it was really beneficial, one, for the client, and secondly, to help us grow our business and build the personal brand and get our business recognized. So that superseded the thoughts that I had in my head of, not wanting to do them or putting them off. But like I said, it did. One of the comments from a client did make me question whether it was worthwhile and set me back a week or two of not doing the presenter-led videos. And then I had someone else who asked me, why have you stopped doing them? And that then was like, okay, that was a trigger then for me to say, you know what, let's get back to doing them again. But yeah, really important. It massively helped us grow and scale the businesses. There was one client as well, going back. I know you mentioned the one property ahead, one thing one of our partners mentioned, and there was a property where we'd marketed the property absolutely amazingly, lovely 3-bed detached house. It wasn't a really high-end property, but about 450,000, I think it was. And I got a call from a client who I thought was booking to view. She said, I've seen the property on Aldridge Road that you've got. I've seen all the photos in the video. It looks amazing. I was like, great. Do you want to book a view? And she's like, no, I don't want to book a viewing. I've got a house in the market in Bolmere, and I want you to market mine the same way as you've marketed that one, because I'm struggling to sell mine at the minute. And the marketing that you've done there, I know that will help sell my property. So we took it on. It'd been on the market with the other agent for about 4 months. We took it on. We didn't change the price. We just massively improved the marketing. We sold it within 3 weeks for 25 grand over the asking price. So that is the difference that it can make to a client, just down to the marketing. And, there's other the strategy that we implemented was helped as well. But I would say a large proportion of that result came from the marketing.
Mate, but that's the thing, I had the biggest smile on my face, because the reality is that you've just hit a nail that we hadn't discussed touching beforehand. And that is very much the fact that people are watching. People are watching. So when you're putting your properties onto the market for sale, you aren't just putting it in front of the eyes of people that are looking to buy. You're also putting your marketing in front of the eyes of the people that may well be looking to sell or already on the market, but not happy with what's happening. And as soon as you do something significantly different and progressive and innovative, and they see it, people are going to go, well, why is my agent not doing that? What do I need to do to get that? And then all of a sudden, price or fee is out the window, because their perception is that what you do is more valuable than what they've got. Mm-hmm. And so therefore they will pay accordingly. So for anyone out there listening, think about it. I heard someone recently on a podcast, I think it's James Kendall on The Complete Agent. I found it hilarious when I heard it, and I've kind of adopted it now. I really like it. There are agents out there that look like they've taken photographs on a potato. If you are one of those agents, stop. It's worth the investment. Anyone that tells me that they can't afford to do professional marketing is deluded. You can't afford not to. You can't afford not.
It's the investment, isn't it? It's an investment into not helping get that property sold so you can get paid at the end of the transaction, helping the client get a better result, but also helping you grow your business, helping you attract more clients that want premium quality marketing as well.
And if you cut through it, cut straight to why people. I don't come to work for the love of the job, despite the fact that I love what I do. I love my family way more, but I spend more time at work. I come to work to earn money. It makes the world go round. And professional marketing means I earn more money, because people perceive what we're doing as being more valuable. And the perception, therefore, is the reality. Rolex can't prove that their watch is any better than something you would buy at Argos, a Casio. However, the perception is that it's a better quality product, and therefore I'm going to pay 50 times as much money for it. And that is what professional marketing does for an estate agent. So there's video, there's the photography. Let's even go a bit more granular. How many comments have you had from potential homeowners and or buyers around drone footage?
The drone shot that we started doing with the greyed out surrounding, colouring the plot. Yeah, a lot of people have started to do the same now, but that got so much interest, and we had so many clients saying we see the drone shot, we think it's really cool, like we want you to do that for us. It was like a real attraction for us. When we 2.5 years ago, loads of people wanted that as soon as we started implementing that. So
it's eye catching. So a really good point, and it alludes to a conversation I had with Simon Gates last week. He shared some information with us. 70% of people now are searching for property on a mobile device. So because of that, 70% of the people you're putting your customers' stock in front of are only seeing the first image. They're not seeing 3 or 4 images, they're seeing one. So if you're then using a drone shot with a grayed out border, and it's going to be far more eye-catching than a street scene with cars on the driveway and bins everywhere.
It's trying to make the property stand out, isn't it? Do something that very few agents, if any, are doing as well. So we want all of our property we take to stand out, and I think that front image is so important. Either a drone shot or a twilight shot. Some of the twilight shots we've had of some of the properties we've taken are incredible, and I do think I've seen even some other agents take some great twilight shots. I do think the twilight shots can really make a big difference. And when you're scrolling through, they're the first ones that capture your eye. You stop scrolling, and I think that's really important, isn't it, to make sure we get people stopping scrolling. So using a drone shot, using a twilight shot, or something different angle, just to make it stand out from all those other listings that are out there.
100%. So we've talked about marketing the client's home. We've talked about video. I think the other thing to add to the video piece is there are several variations with the way in which a person can film a video. I would say personally, the best engagement and the best response rate are those that are lifestyle and or cinematic. I think the very structured, almost, here's the reception room and there's a fireplace at its center and we have whatever. Like that's almost like the old school write-ups, isn't it? Where it's like front aspect window, telephone point and radiator. It's boring. No one cares. You need to capture people's attention. So when you're working with a videographer, you need to ensure that their style isn't meh. It needs to have some eye-catching transitions. It needs to have some lifestyle elements where people can really see themselves living there with the crackling fire and the drinks reception in this lovely big open plan kitchen living diner, can see themselves with friends with the bifolds open, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it's got to sell the lifestyle, haven't you? And smiling because I enjoy some of these shoots that we go on. We've had some great laughs at some of the take-ons that we've done. I mean, me and you rowing down, was it the Thames in a canoe? Chris got
honestly, I turned up to that. Chris said, so just for those listening, just to paint a bit of a picture, one of our partner agents, Chris Paul, took on a farm, but not a farm as a conventional farm. It had been converted, hadn't it? So it had a pool and it had lots of rooms that had been let out as holiday Airbnb type things. But this property, its border was the river, wasn't it? And was it the River Tame?
I think it might have been.
It was the River Tame. So we're not talking, we're talking a stream here. We're talking something that's about 40 foot wide and moving at pace. And he had this inflatable kayak. So I've turned up, jeans, nice jacket, shirt. I thought he wanted us to be a part of the video as some form of prop. Chris is a bit weird and wacky and wonderful with his video ideas. They're amazing, but they are off the wall. No. I wasn't turning up to be an extra. He wanted me and Jack in this inflatable kayak getting in the River Tame, and we had this very small window where he wanted to film us, whereby we had to get from one pontoon to the next, which is probably no more than, what do you reckon, Jack, 30 foot?
Yeah, not only that, but getting into the kayak was a challenge, wasn't it?
That was an 8 foot drop.
Yeah.
So we had to basically jump into an inflatable kayak into the River Tame, 40 foot wide, running fast. But the worst bit of all is we're in this kayak and we're going downstream for him to film his bit. He cocked his lines about 12 times, didn't he? So we had to keep trying to turn around, paddle back upstream frantically. Honestly, I come out of there, we were absolutely buckled, weren't we?
Yeah, mate. It was very funny. he done us over.
Yeah, I feel like I've been set up there. I feel like I've been set up. But it was fun. The clients loved it. The engagement that he got on the content was unbelievable. And it worked. It worked. It led to somebody wanting to buy the property. So we've covered the portal kind of marketing, the videos, the write-ups, the everything else. What about the way in which marketing should be utilized through social media? I feel like this is a hugely underutilized tool by the mainstream estate agents. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think people, one, have only recently started using social media, but a lot of people. I think there's so much more that can be done with social media, and there's also results that are being generated now from social media as well. There's so many different platforms as well that you can share the property across, but it's being able to share the property across multiple different platforms, reaching hundreds, thousands more people. You can even target certain demographics if you wanted to run ads from it as well. But it's making sure that the property can reach more people than it's just reaching on Rightmove and Zoopla and all those other sites. And the way I try and explain this to clients is that with most people, most normal homes, people are going to be looking on Rightmove and Zoopla on a day-to-day basis. If it's a unique home or it's something a little bit different or it's finished really, really well, people might not be looking every day. But if you can get it in front of them, you might tempt them into wanting to make a move. And I think that's what you can do through social media. We actually sold a property last year. Someone had been following us for quite a while through social media. They did say to me, look, we wasn't really intentionally looking to move, but we just liked the fact that you listed really nice homes. So we've been following you for quite a while. They ended up buying a property from us for 1.1 million that had been listed with another agent for 6 months before we took it to market. So clearly they hadn't been looking because it had already been on the market. It was only when they saw it on our social media channel. And yeah, we did some quite cool things with the market. We made it look quite cool and did something a little bit different. But they ended up purchasing that and they contacted us through Instagram after seeing the reel that we put on there. So I think social media is such a powerful tool.
So powerful. I actually have a little story attached to the power of social media and how it actually influenced us selling a property. So last year, I'm proud to say that we hold the highest sale price of a property in DE55, which is our core postcode area. It sold for 1.348. We were listing that particular property, Willow Cottage, side by side with Savills. I decided we've got to do something a little bit outside the box with this. So we did our post onto Facebook with the video. But what I then did is I turned that into a Facebook ad. And the way I look at social media and the way we look at it in our local business and the way we coach our partners is Rightmove and Zoopla is to capture the attention of people that are actively looking in a specific area. Okay. Now, a lot of people may put a pin in the middle of the map and then go, I'm looking in a mile radius of that pin. What if you have the perfect property for them that sits at 1.1 miles? It may get missed because it isn't going to get caught by that search. And this is true to exactly what I'm about to share with Willow Cottage. So we produced 11 viewings to Savills 1. I did a Facebook ad. I think I spent about 50 quid. So I didn't exactly break the bank on this particular listing with a Facebook ad, but I did it to a 30 kilometer radius of the postcode of the property. The resulting buyer came from that Facebook ad. The buyer wasn't looking in my postcodal area. They live in an area called Milford, just outside Belper, which is DE56. They wanted to stay local to that. We did the Facebook ad. The Facebook ad landed in front of their son. Their son showed his mum and dad. They booked a viewing. They ended up buying it for 1.348 million. Powerful. Had we not done that ad, they may never have seen that property. So for anyone out there that's umming and ahhing on whether or not social media works, whether or not social media is a good tool or resource, give your head a wobble, open your mind, use social media. If you want to talk to Jack or I about how you can use it to its best advantage, you only need to pick up the phone or send us an email, direct message us, whatever you like in terms of communication. I think the other thing to share is the formula that we use. So we've got the leads formula. So we stick to a very consistent social media plan in our local business around the leads formula. L stands for local spotlight. E is educate the public. A is a sneak peek, D is day in the life of, and S is spotlight a property. We stick to that formula so we can showcase a variety of content.
Mate, you reel those off pretty quick as well.
That's because it's ingrained. That's because we do it week after week after week. And that also helps as a framework to remain consistent. Because not every piece of content you put out, I spoke to someone recently and they said, oh, I see that content. I'm not so sure it's the type of content I would want to put out. Okay, why not? I don't like it. It's not really about what you like. It's about what the public wants. And we can go really detailed on this, can't we? I think it's probably best to keep it at a relatively surface level, but for the benefit of because I can go down this rabbit hole, no problem. But I think for the benefit of the episode not being 4 hours long, all content works. It just depends on where people are at in their journey. And the reason for those that are watching, they'll know what I'm doing. For those that are listening, I'm creating the shape of a funnel with my hands. And we find, don't we, Jack, that video content, sped up tours, bloopers even, they're very good for top of funnel engagement. People that might only just be coming into contact with us, or they find our content interesting. Like you said, a lot of people will follow you because you list and sell such beautiful houses. People want to see the beautiful houses. So that's the top of funnel. But the educate the public, the E in the leads formula, will be top tips, advice, mortgage rates, what's going on in the current market locally. That really will only be interesting to people that are further down the funnel, people that have got a higher intent, people that are considering selling in the near future. And we're finding it a lot. I'm sitting in a lot of living rooms at the minute where people are saying, oh, I watched the video that Hayley did talking about the best times of the week to put your house on Rightmove to get the most engagement. I'm like, brilliant. But these people are high intent, and it just builds so much credibility.
Those videos as well, the education ones, you tend to find they don't reach as many people, but the people that they do reach are more likely to become clients if they are watching those videos.
Yeah, and that's a piece of advice I would offer anyone that is venturing into the world of social media or in the world of social media right now. Don't measure the success of your content based on the number of views or likes that it gets, because that can be dangerous. I very nearly changed the leads formula and removed the E and turned it into lads. Because for me, I genuinely felt like the educational pieces weren't working because we weren't getting that many views. We weren't really getting any engagement. But the reason I didn't change it was because of the fact that I was sitting in living rooms where people were saying, oh, I've watched that video where you talk about this, and I've watched that video where you talk about this being really important. Or, oh, that video you did about styling your property to make sure you can get the best price for it, that was really useful. And then all of a sudden I went, okay, we're only getting 300 or 400 views on these videos compared to thousands on the sped up tours. But they're the ones that people are remembering.
It's the quality, isn't it? You want the others to bring the quantity to get them into your funnel, to get them following you. And then the quality videos are those that are the educational ones that people are watching because they've got an intention of wanting to do something.
Absolutely. And so for anyone watching or listening, you can absolutely tell that for Jack and I, when it comes to the marketing segment of when we onboard new partners into the avenue, that's the bit we really buzz about, because there's so many great things that you can do to separate yourself, make yourself stand out in a crowd, but ultimately staircase the market. So not only are you selling the very best properties in your community, but you're receiving the very best fees for that.
Yeah, I think that's the important part, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else on the marketing front that we want to cover, Jack?
I think we've covered quite a bit. And I think, as we said earlier, I think there's an episode around personal branding, which obviously features a lot of marketing, but I feel there's a whole separate conversation that we can talk about around that. So I'm sure that'll be coming up very soon for anyone interested in personal branding and how to build your personal brand.
Yeah, there's definitely a synergy between the two, isn't there? Personal brand building and marketing. There's definitely a strong synergy. But we wanted to try our best to separate them out for this episode so that we can really convey the importance of the quality of marketing to get the right attention on your properties and you.
Definitely. Hopefully we've done that for anyone that's been listening.
Fingers crossed. So if there's anybody listening in that's got any questions around the marketing side or looking for introductions to great videographers, looking for advice on how to maximize social media, any aspect of what we've discussed today, then please feel free to reach out to either myself or Jack. But for now, that is another episode of the Elite Agent Masterclass, and we look forward to speaking to you all again soon.